Cystic fibrosis, a mutation that affects 200,000 people every year. We followed the story of a 5-year-old boy named Brandon and his journey through this deadly genetic disease. It was discovered that Brandon had CF when he was a toddler. I had a quick chat with his mother, and this is what she told me. How did you first find out that Brandon had CF?
I first found out that Brandon had CF by going to the annual checkup with the doctors. And the annual checkup before that, we had a coughing episode. So when we asked the doctor about the coughing episode, he said that Brandon had CF.
How did you react after he had told you this information?
I was very scared because me and my husband, we could barely afford enough for the apartment, food, and him. So adding CF on top of that, that was very scary.
How was your typical day with Brandon?
Well, my typical day with Brandon was like my husband would go the early shifts and the late shifts, so we wouldn't see him too often. Then Brandon would always eat food to try and stay alive, but he was a really picky eater, so he couldn't really do anything. Then we had to do therapy, which kind of helped, but it didn't do too much. So it was really hard.
I'm sorry. Let's take a quick break.
In order to understand cystic fibrosis, you first need to understand protein synthesis.
Let's watch a quick video on that. So how are cystic fibrosis and protein synthesis related? Genes make up proteins, and proteins make us. Genes are made up of a list of billions of letters. Each group of 3 letters is a codon, and it codes for a different enzyme. When you put a bunch of enzymes together, they fold in a specific way to create a protein. If even one letter is wrong, then it won't code for the correct enzyme, so the protein won't fold correctly, which causes the cell to not do its job properly. In cystic fibrosis, 3 letters are deleted, which cause a key protein in a lung cell to not do its job. That specific protein is supposed to be in the middle of a lung cell membrane and transport salt in and out of the cell. Since it's misshapen, it is unable to transport the salt, and the salt is trapped inside the cell, and it creates a thick layer of mucus on the cell membrane. Because of the mucus, it creates a drowning or suffocating effect.
Action.
We are here with Dr. Smith, whose work has improved the lifespan of the cystic fibrosis victims over her time at Ireland. Doctor, what is your goal as of this moment?
My goal is to isolate the gene for cystic fibrosis, which takes root in the developing stages of the lungs during pregnancy. So far, we've been experimenting with CF patients who are willing to try our experimental drugs and operations. Our results aren't what we had hoped for, but with every month that passes, we make more breakthroughs and we gain more progress.
Thank you for that. How is cystic fibrosis formed?
Cystic fibrosis is formed when a CTFR gene becomes faulty and doesn't work. Basically, what happens is that during pregnancy, both parents pass down this CTFR gene to their offspring. And if only one of these parents passes down this gene, then their offspring will only be a carrier for the disease, and they have a chance of passing it down to their offspring.
I've heard that there are some ways that you can remove the mucus that is trapped in the lungs. What could you do to relieve the mucus content?
There are 2 main ways to relieve the mucus content. One of them is what personally I prefer. It's the easiest. You would go in and get surgery, and you'd have a pacemaker-like machine put into your lungs, which will manually pump out the mucus for you. Another way is to do it manually on your own, and it's kind of like physiotherapy, where you kind of clap them on the back in a certain way, and they have to get in certain positions, which will extract the mucus, forcing it out of the lungs.
That's very interesting. We learned some great information about cystic fibrosis today. Scientists are getting closer and closer to breaking the cystic fibrosis case. We thank all of our doctors and experiment groups for all their consistent hard work. Thank you for watching.